So I bet by now, everybody has seen the mother who was in Baltimore who grabbed her son and to stop him from being involved in the rioting. He was throwing rocks and all that. And, she's done a couple of interviews with The View and I think a couple of other outlets. And she was explaining the reason behind her actions. And that being that, she raised him better than that to be doing all of that, okay, all that mess. And people are going to be up in arms saying, okay, she basically demasculated him or whatnot, and that he had a right to be in the streets and be angry that way and what. And I personally feel like she did the right thing because she reminded me of what my mother would be doing. My mom would be all up in the streets just like her. And a little bit of what I would be doing myself. Look, here's the thing. And this is the thing. Everybody's pitting the black community against the black community. And I'm not talking about black on black crime because that's a figment of our imaginations in some respect. But in terms of the Martin Luther King approach and the Malcolm X approach, everybody wants to pit us against each other, and or more so, I think we're pitting ourselves against each other in the tactics we do in order to communicate our frustration with society and how they treat us. And now, I'm not saying one tactic is better than the other. There is one tactic that I prefer personally for my own self, and that is because I'm a peace lover. I'm a peace-loving person. And so that I gravitate to the Martin Luther King way of it all. That's just me. But I do not begrudge the Malcolm X. I respect the Malcolm X for the fact that the reason they are going about the way they're going is because they feel so passionate about uplifting a group of people and, preventing injustice that is there. So I don't begrudge them. Would I do the same tactics? Do I agree that it's as effective? No, but I think there's a time and place. There is a time and place because we get angry. There's just so much people can take of repeated offenses where you just blow up. You ever get so angry, you just blow up on somebody, and sometimes it's not even your intent target, you just blow up. You can't control it. And if anybody can get that angry and not really, it's human. And so I feel like it's a consequence of neglect. Somebody neglected them, and this is the consequence. There's no human being who has complete self-control 100% of the time and never slips up, not once. There's not. That person does not exist. I think in Christianity, we said the person who actually did exist, who had that type of self-control, was Jesus Christ, and he was long dead, and he therefore died for our sins upon the cross. And so, but other than him, there is no other individual who has that type of power. And so for us to assume that, there's just one way, everybody's going to be a Martin Luther King, and that there is no such thing as somebody being so overwhelmed with the amount of injustice that they choose another route to force you to see the injustice that they've been telling you about peacefully for quite some time. It's understandable why you're going to go off the deep end. It's understandable. And so when it comes to the riots, I know that, there's a group that are like, no, they should be rioting. They, although I feel like they were protesting for a long time, peacefully for a long time. Media wasn't out there. Media decided to be there when some car got bombed or whatnot, or police car got bombed. So for what reason? But they put the attention always on the most negative aspect of it. And so, those people who are pro the riots, they feel some type of way that she was pulling him away from that, because they feel like she's pulling him away from the actual, the actual protest, the actual underlying movement. And I don't think she was pulling him away from the actual underlying movement. I think she was just saying, first of all, I'll raise you a different way. You do not have this amount of anger in you to be protesting in this way. You don't need to be throwing a rock so that you can, I'm sorry, there are consequences for anger and fighting that way. There are consequences. So no matter how much somebody does to you, there's still consequences for you doing unto them. And so that's, I think as human beings, that's the thing that we all need to appreciate and understand from both sides. And that's why I choose the way I do. But again, I just think she wanted his future to be a future where he had an opportunity to be in the movement, but just in a different way. She did not raise him to be in the movement that way. And so therefore, that's what she doing. And people who are saying she demasculated him, he a boy. He don't got no right to be masculine yet. He has not left the crib, okay? She has all the right to be pulling him right back. Yes, he has not left the crib yet. That makes total sense, okay? She just wants him to fight in another way. There's other constructive ways to fight and be a part of the movement. And that's what she was doing. And she has total right to, because that child came at her, okay? So for people who want to have their opinions, go somewhere. Please do. Go somewhere. I mean, I completely support everybody fighting for the movement in their own way, because, you know, at least you have something you care about that is outside of yourself. But her point is that this is not the way you're going to fight, because you weren't raised to fight this way. The amount of resentment and anger that caused these people to go up in arms the way they are going, you have not attained that same level of frustration. Right now, you're just going the way of the crowd and doing what they're doing just to do it. There's people who have righteous indignation and other people who are just feeding off other people's anger. They don't have that same righteous indignation. They're just feeding off other people's energy and want to be part of the movement. And that don't make no damn sense, okay? If I have somebody who's literally hurt by something, like it's my brother, it's my sister, I have the full right and capacity to go buck wild crazy on whoever comes near me, whoever has the audacity to come near me or talk sideways at me. I have the right, because something happened literally close to my hip, to my bone. But if you, just because you see me experiencing this and you don't have you just feeding off my energy at that point. You feeding off my energy. And as much as I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be like, yeah, rah, 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 because I got a cheerleader. That's her thing, is that you're putting your life at risk as a cheerleader for something that you don't have that same emotional, like, you know, that outburst did not come from that same emotional depth. You know, and so yes, it has an emotional depth in terms of Freddie Gray is act like us, but she had raised him in a different way. She was raising him in a different way, in a different path, to fight in this movement in a different way. So that was her issue. And I think I'm just like, this is becoming a run-on video. I'm ranting at this point, but I completely feel her. And if you guys can understand my rambling at this point, if you kind of can feel where I'm coming from, let me know. Give me your opinion on this in the comment sections. Remember to subscribe, like this video, and we'll continue this discussion on social media. But like I said, I do agree with her. I would have yanked his ass at that street, and I don't care. And you know, they're talking about Child Protective Services are investigating her. Anyways, that's the way it should go, but she'll be fine. She'll be fine. I think as long as we can come together and support her, she'll be 100% fine. Or at least the people around her. Because I'll be honest, am I going to pick up the phone and call her? I don't think so. Not that I shouldn't, but, you know, the way my bills are set up and the activities in my life is set up, I don't know if I'm going to have the time to honestly do all that. But I hope somebody does, you know. I'm just being honest. So, and that's what I'm saying. I wish people would just be more honest about how much they can be involved in the movement, where the movement is. Like, she's in Baltimore. The movement I can be in is happening right here in South Florida. That's the movement I can participate in. And hopefully my participation in the movement in South Florida affords somebody else who has the ability, or myself in the future who may have the ability, to be participating in the movement across the US, across the world. And so, but look, you got to take baby steps. And that's what she was telling him. You gotta take baby steps. You need more pain in your life before you be throwing rocks, okay? You need to take baby steps before you start throwing rocks. You need to have more anguish in your life because of this injustice before you be throwing rocks, okay? Don't just be throwing rocks because you saw somebody else throwing rocks. You need more anguish in your life before you come to this level of frustration and anguish. And there's people who rightfully do have that right to feel that anguish. There are. Well, we have been ignored enough to be angry, but you right now, you could channel it into a more constructive ways at this moment. I wish everybody could just channel it in as many ways as you can. We don't have to focus on just one way to get the message across. There is a variety of ways we can communicate that there is something epically wrong with the system of things as it is, that is puts certain groups of people at a disadvantage. And I'm not going to say it only puts Black people at a disadvantage, but I will say that predominantly Black people who are put at a disadvantage are overlooked because they're Black. There's other people who are put in disadvantage by it, and we can acknowledge it, but because we're Black, we're like, that's just Black people talking again. It's the truth. It's the truth. And now I have other videos, and I'm going on and on. And I'm gonna try and cut this down short, but yeah, that's how I feel. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And yeah, comment, like, subscribe, and we can continue this conversation again on social media.